Hello, welcome back to this next episode of the Contested Foul podcast. Today, my guest is Lena Goran, if I said that correctly, hopefully.
Yeah,
I am very excited for this interview. And then, Lena, if you'd like to give a little introduction, how you got into Frisbee, what you've been doing since then, that'd be amazing.
sure. I got into Frisbee because I knew I wanted to play a club sport in college. I didn't really know what I wanted it to be. So I kind of was like, I'll go to like the initial tryouts or practices for a few different sports. And I was like immediately hooked when I went to the first Frisbee practice. I went to Northwestern. And so that team was called Gung Ho at the time that I was there. Now it's
Oh, yeah.
Northwestern Claw, right?
Claw, yep.
um, yeah, so I got super into it pretty much right away. I was lucky enough to get to play club my first summer
Ooh,
after starting to play in college. I played for Notorious CLE at the time. I think they're the Lake Erie Walleyes now.
okay,
Back in
yeah.
Cleveland, which is where I'm from. Yeah, so I
Oh,
did
awesome.
that. And then played a few years with Dish in Chicago. 1 year with Indy Red, like the first PUL year. And then I retired in 2020 from playing because I had too many concussions.
Oh, I was gonna ask why you had stopped playing, but that's as someone I was just my friend I went to frisbee camp with a long time ago. I was like, "Why aren't you playing anymore?" And she said she also same thing, had too many concussions and she wasn't allowed to play anymore. Oh, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Um, It was a bummer. Like they didn't say I had to be all the way done necessarily, but I was gonna take the 2020 club season off regardless, and then COVID happened, and so nobody was
Yeah.
playing, and it seemed like kind of my moment to take a step back because no one else was able to play anyway.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I moved to Colorado in 2021. Didn't really think I was going to be doing frisbee stuff anymore, and then it was kind of hard to meet people. So when the
Yeah.
opportunity to coach Alpenglow kind of dropped into my lap, I decided it would be cool and a good way to get back involved. And I've been doing that. This will be my fourth. This is my fourth year coaching Alpenglow.
Had you ever done any coaching before that?
Yeah, I coached. I coached the Northwestern B team
Oh,
for a
cool.
couple of years right after college, and with Henri, who I think you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did that for the first 2 years after I graduated, and I also kind of coached a high school team while I was in college, but they weren't very organized.
What was it, a school
Um,
in Evanston or was it?
yeah, it was called Beacon Academy.
Okay,
It's like a
okay.
really
Yeah.
small, yeah.
I was
You're familiar with
volunteering and
it?
I met a kid who went there. Yes. Yeah, I
Okay,
was wondering if
cool.
it was something like ETHS, but yeah, Beacon is really
No,
small.
they have a much more legitimate program.
Yeah. And yeah.
This one was
That-
I got to the like I showed up to the first practice and like immediately was like you can't practice here because they were practicing in like just a random park in Evanston and there was like a grate in the middle of the field that they were playing on and I was like we're
oh
not doing
boy.
this. We're going to go find
Yeah,
somewhere else to practice.
that's funny. Yeah, that sounds like some high school frisbee.
hmm
What I'm curious, what other or club sports did you try out for, and then
I
like
wanted to do
what really hooked
basket.
you?
I thought about doing basketball, but I'm 5'2",
Okay,
so that was going to be a limiting factor. But that was I've always loved basketball. And
yeah.
then I played tennis in high school, but I had wrist tendonitis from that, so I
Oh
was
no,
like,
yeah.
I'm going to take a step back from that. And then the one that I was the closest to going to instead was actually table tennis.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That's so interesting. I didn't know they had a club table tennis team, but I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
that's a
they
big school.
did. I had a ping pong table in my parents' basement growing up, and I liked it. But I was at the student center like the first week of school, and there were a couple guys that were pretty good who were playing, and I asked if I could play next. and they were so rude to me about like wanting to play with them that I was like, I don't actually want to go do that now because like I was like, oh, like can I have
That's so
next? And
annoying.
they like looked at me like I was crazy, and then they were like, I guess. And then I started to like I stepped up when it was my turn to play, and the guy goes, "Do you want me to play legit?"
Yeah, that's that's really funny.
And I was like, all right, I
Ugh,
guess I don't want to be a part of
that's
that.
funny.
But yeah, I went to the first frisbee practice with a girl from my dorm, and we like biked up to the field together, and like we were biking back, and she was like, "What'd you think of that?" And I was like, "I had the best time. Like I will absolutely be going back.
Okay,
What did you think?" And she was like, "That was way
that's
too
funny.
much."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again for
That's
her,
funny. That's happened. Yeah,
she
we
did
have a
not
lot of
stick with
people come with
it.
try out with roommates and stuff, and one of them will stick and one of them won't. That's how it goes. When you were at Northwestern, did you guys
Yeah,
ever go to nationals? Any of those years you were there? Okay.
we did not.
Okay, because I know
Yeah,
they went
I was in the
in
gap, unfortunately.
2019. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I graduated in 2018, so yeah, I I captained
Okay.
2017 and
That's
2018.
cool. Well, I'll go on to some more club stuff. Did you ever captain dish or? Oh,
Sure. I did not captain Dish. I spent my whole time that I was playing for
oh, okay,
Dish trying to
okay,
make Nemesis. So
yeah.
I had very specific like I was always like very focused on like just trying to make the next team and the next team. So like Dish was like the first one, and then I
Oh,
like got too injured before I got any
yeah.
further. But yeah, I did not captain
Okay,
Dish,
well
but I learned
that's
so
interesting.
much um,
Oh yeah.
from the people that were on that team. Like it, I know it's a little different now from my understanding, but like, did you like, or were you part of Dish at all when like Wendy was there?
No, I only started last year. It was my first year on dish. So yeah, but I've met
Okay,
her.
cool. Yeah, so I played for Dish 20. I was supposed to play 2016, and then I got a concussion, so I didn't. So I played 2017, 18, 19. Um, and at the time, Dish was like very much established with like this core that had been playing together for years and years and years. And like the team was able to do some really impressive things because of just the chemistry of those players and like the amount of time that they had spent together. So, like two of the captains while
Hmm.
I was there, Wendy, who you said you met, and Leanne,
No, but
who I
I
bet you've
interviewed
probably have you met
Icestay.
Leanne?
I say, and she was talking about
Oh
Wendy
yeah,
and
I love
Leanne a
Ice
lot. So
Day.
I've heard very good things. Yes.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, they
Hmm.
were really influential, both of them. I was so like I'm a left-handed handler historically, and um, played more offense than defense in college. But I got onto Dish, and initially they like put me on O line, like next to Wendy, and after like one tournament, she was like, go over there. Leanne will take care of you because I didn't understand how to throw to
Okay.
someone who wasn't already open.
Interesting.
Like I was really comfortable like throwing to tight windows and like throwing break throws, but like I didn't know how to throw to like a
Oh, okay,
handler who
okay.
was static who didn't look open. And that was what Wendy liked to do because she would just say like,
I'll
yeah,
run
go
onto
put it
it.
over
Yeah.
there, and like I'll go from there. I'll run onto it. And I was
I
like,
could see how
I
that could
don't know how
be
to do that. I don't want to do
kind of like nerve wracking.
that.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it takes a level of development that you don't always get
yeah.
that like I see now a lot as a coach, but that like you don't always get as a player in college because it's all about like so
Yep.
much of college is
Yeah.
can you get open up line,
Yeah.
right? Like or like how good are you at getting open up line is like so much of college offense, or at least it was like when I played college. um and so I learned so much from Leanne playing for D line for Dish because like she was one of the most knowledgeable players I've ever worked with, to this day, I would say. And just the way that she understood or understands, I guess I don't know why I'm using past tense, the way that she understands the game and like her ability to like carry a
That's
line
cool.
was like
Yeah.
inspirational,
Yeah,
and
they
I
both
learned
seem
so
like
much from
really
her.
amazing
Yeah.
people I wish I could have played with. But I think, I don't know when they stopped, maybe when COVID
Yeah.
happened. So,
Leanne moved back to
oh, yeah.
Australia in
Okay.
20, like after the 2019
I guess they mentioned that
season.
too. I think.
Um, and then I think Wendy played a couple more years, and
Okay.
then I'm not sure what her last season was, before she decided it was time to
Yeah.
be done with that and just play
That's so
grandmasters.
cool. Yeah. This is so interesting that, I
But
mean, obviously they made
yeah,
such a huge impact that I'm talking to all these Dish alumni and everybody's mentioning them every time. And I definitely will, I'm going to try to hit Kells up and get their info too so I can talk to them as well.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Okay, cool. I'd love to
yeah, that'd
talk a
be
little bit
cool.
about your coaching at the WUL. I'm a big fan of watching
Yeah,
frisbee in
absolutely.
general, and then especially professional leagues. But I've definitely watched a lot more
Yeah.
PUL than WUL because I'm from DC, so we're kind of everywhere I'm
Hmm.
at is all in the PUL. But I watched to prep for this. I watched y'all's last game. It was yeah. Um,
Okay.
Yes. And I
That's
had
cool.
some questions about just like how did you guys adjust to, or
Yeah.
how, when you started coaching and the players as well, like adjust to these different rules, like the stalls, like there's so many stalls that just happen in the games, like the stall seven and then the
Hmm.
quarters. Um, and I'm trying to remember other different rules, but I don't. You definitely know more than me about that. Yeah.
I can, yeah, I can talk about the rules. I mean, it's certainly an adjustment. Like the court, we spend a lot of
Yes.
practice time on end of quarter situations because it's so different than club. So you spend a lot of time kind of thinking about like how do you want to possess the disc at the end of a quarter? Like if there's a minute left on the clock, like how do you want to go about prioritizing possession? So like that's like one side of it. Or like if you are coming down on defense with a minute left, like how do you, like
Okay.
what does it
Yeah.
look like to try to force a block, right? Because there's no really other situation in frisbee where like you
Yeah.
have to get a block right this second, right, where like the timing matters. So those are absolutely like parts of our like game planning and practice planning. So and
Yeah.
then once the clock expires it changes too, right? So like the way that you would play defense, right, like if there's a minute on the clock is completely different than the way that you would play defense when there's no time left, because all you care about
Yeah.
once there's no time left is that they don't score. So you might play super tight on the handlers in the last minute or 30 seconds and like just really make sure no handler sees an open look in the backfield, and you might just put and play everybody under and one over the top to like try
Yeah.
to invite a deep shot, right? um so that, and then once the time expires you might fully back off of the handlers to some degree and say like, all right, yeah, like you guys play catch
Yeah.
30 times and let's see if you can walk it up the field, right? Like it's not the only strategy, it's just an example of like something that we think about and something that we talk about,
Yeah, that's there. It does seem
for end
like
of
with
quarter.
these rules, there is a little more strategy that has to be thought about. Have you noticed that it's hard for any players to get adjusted to that? Okay.
It's
Okay.
really hard for the players to get adjusted to that. I mean, like we've been
Yeah.
doing this for 4 years, and it's still hard, because it is a completely different mental space
Okay.
than the rest of playing Ultimate.
Yeah.
Like your goals are different, right? Like to it's really hard to take yourself out of like I'm playing Ultimate and like make yourself say like I don't care about if I'm going backwards because all I care about is
Yeah.
possessing the disc for the next 25 seconds. And what we find is that if you don't practice it enough, you end up being more likely to turn it over in that situation than if you just
Yeah.
decided to like play normal and down the stretch. So it's hard, and it's something that we're always working on, and I think most teams are kind of always working on, because those end of like, if you can get a stop at the end of a quarter, it's kind of like a half break, if you will. Um,
That's
and
so
so that can
that's
be
really
significant.
fascinating. Yeah, there is. This makes, now that I'm actually thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. But I wasn't actually thinking about it before this. What about the stall seven? Do they have
Yeah,
do you have refs like the UFA or no?
the stall
No,
seven.
they're still
No, so
okay. That's
PUL
what
and
I thought.
WUL are both observed.
Okay.
So the mark still counts the stall, and
Yeah.
which is controversial to some degree, because everybody
Yeah.
tends,
Especially
it's
when it's
hard, it's
stall
hard not
seven.
to fast count. Like, I don't think anybody does it on purpose, by any means, but it's real, like,
Yeah.
it's hard not to fast count. And so 7 seconds is often more like 5.5, a lot of the time. So something that we also
Okay.
work on in practice is calling fast count, like to give
Yeah.
yourself the full time, right? Like you want them to have to drop, like you want to make sure that you actually get your 7 seconds. And then in terms of how it changes the rest of the game, like it changes your reset structure, and your options for your reset structure,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
Because
boy.
you can't look at four.
Yeah.
Like, right, like I don't know what you were taught, but when I learned to play,
Yep.
like they
Yep.
said, all right, like you
Yep.
should like reset at stall four. Four is too late. Four is too
Ugh,
late in
I
the
would have a hard time with that.
WL.
Ugh. Is that the same with the PUL? Seven?
Yeah.
No. Okay. That's
No,
interesting.
PUL still 10. Mm-hmm. It was
I did. I
I don't know if you
did.
watched the PUL WUL
Oh.
All-Star game last summer, but I think the WUL
Okay.
players were pretty upset that it was
So it was
PUL
10
rules.
for that. I didn't even think about that either. That was, yeah, I did watch
Mm-hmm.
that. That was
Yeah.
I really thought the WL was going to win. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think, yeah, they didn't.
I thought so too.
But that was cool. Yeah, what do you think about the two separate leagues? Like, I know there's some people who are really want them to be combined into one or things like that. What do you think?
um I mean, I think that whatever works best
Yeah.
for operations, like it is a good like I don't have a huge stake in whether or not they're one league or two leagues. I think it'd be cool if the
Yeah.
championship was the best of the boat, like was like, I think it would be cool if it was like Western Conference, Eastern Conference, or whatever, to be, I think
Yeah.
that would be
I agree.
awesome if it's possible. But I don't know how compatible their business
Yeah.
models
Yeah,
are.
that's a
I'm
good
not
point
on that
too.
side of the
Which one
house.
was first? The PUL. Okay, that's what I thought.
The
What?
PUL was first. Mm-hmm. The first season was, for PUL, was 2019, and the WUL I think was
Okay, it hasn't been
supposed to
going on
start in
that
2020.
as long as I thought. Okay.
Um,
Well, yeah. What do you
yeah.
think about the fact that there's like so few teams you are playing? Is that good, better or worse?
Um, I think it's a mixed bag, right? Like I think that, so last season, so last year and the year
Okay.
before, it was only a 6 game regular season. This year it's back to 8, which it was the first 2 years, or the first year it was 8. And I
Yeah.
think 8 is better than 6. um, but it's really hard to A, make adjustments, B, grow and learn as
Yeah.
a team with that few many opportunities. But at the same time, like, we're not at a time yet where players are looking to prioritize this over club. And so we're
Yeah.
pretty beholden to the club schedule and working around that. So I don't know how you would fit more than 8 games in the current schedule.
That's
But it would certainly, you could probably long term.
yeah. That's a
improve
good
the
point. I didn't
product
think
with more
about that.
games, I would
I
say.
do find it so interesting how, well, obviously club has been around just so much longer than professional. So it is interesting
Exactly.
how much bigger, the biggest game of the year is the finals in Club Nationals, not the finals of the professional league, for anyone. Let me see what else.
Yeah.
What I wrote down all my questions over here. Okay, this is like more game specific. So you guys already played Seattle once, but you're playing them again your next game. How are
Yep.
you? Yeah, how are you feeling about that?
This weekend, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it always feels good to play at home. Like we played Seattle on the back of
Oh,
a road doubleheader. So we played Oregon on
oh
Saturday,
gosh,
drove to Seattle that night, and then played
that's not fun.
Seattle on Sunday. And so we were at 19 by Sunday afternoon, roster wise, which so like the max is 22. So home teams will pretty much always carry 22 on game day. And then the road team, if it's a single header, will usually bring 20. But on a double header, you would
Okay.
want the full amount, but we had some injuries. So I think we're looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing them again with more legs, for sure. We still have quite a bit of coaching work to do this week to prepare. Like it's Monday, so we have our like meeting, like a lot of our prep meetings still to come. But I mean, Seattle has like a pretty distinct style of play. Like they've always kind of run what they run, while like the structure of their offense isn't necessarily exactly the same as it was last year. Like the fundamentals of how they play are pretty familiar, so we have that to work off of. And then I got a lot of film
Oh
to
yeah, that
watch
was the
from
crazy.
them playing
Yeah, I
Utah.
that is on my to
to it.
watch because it's crazy ending score.
Yeah, I've watched part
Yeah,
of it. I haven't finished it yet. Yeah, it's I'm interested to see how they
I am too.
got
Yeah,
that many points on the
that
board.
was crazy.
But Utah's having a tough
Oh
season. They
really?
had an
Okay.
insane amount of roster turnover from last year to this year.
Oh wow, that
Yeah, I
is
think
yeah.
they only brought back like
Okay.
6 players or
Yeah, I
something
could.
crazy like
There.
that.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that they weren't doing too hot, but hopefully they just go up from here. Everybody. Did you guys get any good? I can think of some like any like you got Kennedy McCarthy. It's her first year on Colorado. Oh, okay.
She was technically on our roster last year, but she
Okay,
was
never
injured.
mind
She
then.
didn't get to play. She was injured and didn't get to play a game last season. So
Well,
she
she
was
had that
super,
great
super
game.
excited
I
to
saw
get on the
that.
field this
Yeah, that
season.
was crazy.
She
I'm trying
did.
to think of
Yeah,
other
she's
people
playing great.
who I know. Maybe that aren't first years. Um, that's okay. Are yeah. How are you? How is this season going to compare to last? Do you think?
I mean, it's going to be super different than last year, and it already is. Our schedule last year, like we went undefeated in the regular season, and then
Yeah.
kind of got punched in the mouth at Champs Weekend, if you will. But so this season, I think in some ways, while it was really cool to go 6-0 in the regular season, like you have to be able to have those opportunities to learn
Yeah.
what it feels like to struggle before you get to the playoffs. And I think that the experience of like how to come back, how to move on from a loss, like all of those things are important. And all of those are
Yeah.
factors in like potential
Okay.
future
Well, I wish
success.
you all the best of luck. And the game I was watching, the flow looked really great.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, it's fun to watch those games, and
Yeah, we're
that was at Oregon's. Not their home field is right next to that highway. That's like all I can see when I. That's your home field.
that's our home field. That's here.
That's
Yeah,
like when I
yeah,
watch the game, I'm like, oh, there's
that was
people
here.
walking by. That
Yeah.
always makes me laugh. Okay, that's your home field. Yeah,
Yeah, no, we are next to the highway. It's
yeah,
I mean, look, there's pros and cons to every stadium. Is it a con that our stadium is next to the highway? Yes, but like we do, like I'm biased, but like I think Colorado does the
yeah.
best game day
What do you guys
experience.
do?
So if you're ever in town, you should come to a game. Um, well, I just the rest of that
Okay.
facility is like really ideal for like what we do. So there's you probably don't really see it on the stream, but there's bleachers, right? And then on the
Oh,
sides of it, there's like these two
yeah.
hills. So like families like bring blankets and like can sit. And then from a spectator size standpoint, like
That's awesome.
it's like we fill it pretty well versus like a lot of the other teams play in these like really big high school stadiums that like they might
Yeah.
have as many fans as we do, but you can't feel it just because of the size of the stadium. So that's been like a really cool atmosphere to get to coach in. And like, it's just, yeah, it's been a really cool place to play. And I think most of the players will tell you like, yeah, it's next to the
Yeah.
highway, but like
Well, the
we have the
field
best
looks
home
nice,
games.
and that's good. What are
Mhm.
some lessons you've learned from coaching, or I guess lessons you learned, but also like some things you like? If there's anything you like about coaching that you like more than playing, or vice versa, anything like that?
Ooh, um, I mean, I like a lot of things about coaching. I think I've noticed a lot of things as a coach that make me think that now
Yeah,
that I'm a coach, I could be a
that's
much better
interesting.
player, if you will. Um, yeah. So that's like, I think something I think about a lot is there are these things that like I was really not like, I think the example that I gave earlier about like throwing people open in the handler space, like something that like I never understood as a player. And like
Yeah,
now, like I'm working on it with people all the time because it's like, it's really important and it's not always natural. Um, I think coaching is can be rewarding in a
yeah,
like playing is also rewarding, like it's fun, right? Like you have a great time while you're playing, but coaching is also I think rewarding in a little bit of a different way, um in that like when you work on something with somebody and
yeah.
then like you see it come to fruition, it just like it feels like special, I think. In like a pretty unique
Rewarding.
way. And I don't know, I think
Yeah,
it it's hard to compare the two, if I'm being honest. Like it's such a different experience, and um it's weird to feel experienced at it to some degree now, like because coaching high level now for like for 4 years, like I feel like I feel like I know a lot, but I also
yeah,
always feel like I should know more, right? Like there's so much to learn, and there's a lot to learn as a player too, but in the coaching space, it feels just infinite, if you will. Like all the stuff that I don't know, no matter how much time I spend and how many people I talk to. There's just like there's something to learn from like everyone you work with, and there's something to learn from even like when you see a player do something that you don't necessarily agree with, right? Of like, hey, like explain to me why you did that.
yeah.
Because sometimes it's something that I didn't see, right? Like that
No, no,
happens
no.
all the
That's good.
time.
No,
Sorry, I
wait,
feel
that
like I'm
makes
rambling.
sense. Yeah, I mean, all you can do is learn more and more. But what type of coaching do you do? Like just all of it? Do you do like O line, D line? I know sometimes for the professional they have more specific things.
Yeah, so the first two
Okay.
years I was kind of the offensive assistant coach. And then the original two head coaches decided to like not come back. And so me and the defensive assistant coach kind of like stepped in. And then we brought in a third person last year to be the
Okay.
kind of logistics coach. um,
Okay.
in their words, I do all the other bullshit. So like we kind of have an like a structure of like we all can have a hand in everything, but I primarily work with the offense.
Hmm.
not necessarily just like the
Yeah.
offensive personnel, but like within the structure of offense. Thomas primarily works in the structure of defense, and then Badger calls the lines and like make sure all the communication gets taken care of, and um,
Okay. Okay.
like interfaces with the management a lot more. And so like that's been really an effective structure for us. And then I also
Yep.
coach
For
club um,
yeah. I
for
have some
Mile High
questions about
Trash.
that
Um,
as well.
and
um.
okay. Yeah, so on that one, I'm
Okay.
also
Okay.
in kind of like a co-head
Yeah. Well,
coach
I was wondering
situation with one
what
other
made you
person.
decide to also take on the role of coaching club, and why mixed club, if there was a specific reason.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
so
I never
interesting.
played
Yeah.
mixed. So I had no experience with that going in. But I mean, so the first year that I coached Alpenglow, a couple teams came to me at the end of the season and were like, "Hey, like we would love for you to
Yeah.
coach us." And I was like, "I would like my summer free, thank you." And then the second year, when we won the championship with Alpenglow, one of the captains of Trash kind of just like caught me in a moment of weakness, like when I was excited that we had won, and she
Yeah.
was like, "We still want you," and I was like, "Okay." But
Yeah.
obviously, I then like did take some time to like think about it and decide. But yeah, I think part of it was the like coaching that team specifically had a lot to do with the timing of that, and then the players on the team that I already had a relationship with from Alpenglow. Um, it was a good number of players that like I felt like I had a good coaching kind of relationship
Yeah.
with, and who are very coachable, which was really cool. And then stepping into mixed, like initially was a little bit scary because I had only ever played or coached women's. But it's really interesting in especially kind of at like at the high at like a high level mixed team, like what you can and can't do
In
like
yeah
in a
versus
like in
yeah.
mixed. So like because the defensive structures can be like are very different, and like
Yeah.
the way you
Oh
can and
yeah.
can't do handler switches are very different, right? Like so all that stuff was really cool to learn about, and get to work through. And like yeah, you can do stuff like just a women matching bracket, and like man match players
Yeah.
stay person, or vice versa. And so I really like the nuance that I found in the mixed game. And there's also, I would say, like there's just there's a lot of
What do
parity
you
in the
mean?
mixed space,
Like
which is cool. Like I mean, to some degree, like in women's, like you could probably argue that
oh yeah
who the
yeah
best
yeah
six teams are, or
yeah.
maybe even the best four teams in club on any given year, and you're
Yeah.
probably
Yes.
98% correct, right? Like there's very much like a first tier in women's, and then like there's some space, right, in the like at the nationals level where there's some variance, but like you could argue that for a 12 teams women's
Yeah.
nationals,
No, you're right. I've thought about
being
this.
fair,
Like it's always the same
right?
four in the semifinals usually, which is
Yeah, and I think like you see this in like in men's maybe a little or in open maybe a little
yeah.
less, but I think it's still pretty true. Like you see the best 6 to 8 teams being the best 6 to 8 teams every year. I think there's so much more room in the
Yeah.
mixed
No, you're right.
division
I've never thought
for
about that either.
chaos.
But
Which I think is really fun. Like, I mean, like the result that Trash had at Nationals last year, like, really was a bummer in a lot of ways. But like, to lose 3 games in a
different
row
yeah.
on Universe, like, it could have been a very different weekend, right? Like, um, that's how close like all those games are, and that's how close like all these teams are.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's a cool
interesting.
place to
What
compete.
do you like coaching mixed or women's more, or there's there's benefits of both?
I don't know if I would say I would pick one and like at like I think I'm much more I think
Yeah.
I
Well, yeah.
know more about coaching women's. Like I think that's objectively true. I'm still like again still learning in both spaces, but women's is easier for me because the
Yeah.
factors are all kind of second nature in my brain, and the factors in mixed are very much still kind of something that I have to think through a little bit more
Yeah.
consciously.
They're different.
So I don't know that I would pick a
Um,
favorite. They're just
are
so
you going to be
different.
coaching Mile High Trash again this year? Awesome. I put down what are you going to take
Yeah.
into this year that you learned from last year? Like what different if there's any big differences you're going to make without giving away too much strat for everyone that's listening.
Hmm. That's a good question. I think this year is a lot about building off of last year. So, like, this is a program that is only a few years old, right? And really achieved kind of the goal that they've been building towards last
Yeah.
season. And now the goalpost moves, right? Like, obviously, like, it's still a key goal to get back to nationals, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
now the goal isn't just to get there. Um, so I think it's more about like finding like the right personnel to complement like the personnel that we already have, and b like creating greater flexibility in the systems that we run. Like last year, culturally, Trash was a team that very much was like, we're going to practice every given available moment that we have to practice, and we're going to work on like really the nitty gritty specifics of like what the offense is going to do in this situation and this situation and this situation. And like that helped us achieve those goals. But
Yeah.
once you make the rules, you have to break the rules, right? So reinforcing what the rules are, I think, is going to be an important part of like the early season planning, and then learning as a team how to break the
Yeah, that would
rules
happen.
is, I
I played
think,
at
that kind of
Loyola,
next step.
and that would kind of similar thing where we teach them, the host
Mm-hmm.
stack, but then it's like, well, this is what you're supposed to do, but not all the time. It's hard to be like, you got to know when to change, when to break the
Yeah,
rules, which is hard to, at least, I mean, for new people, it's very hard to convey and explain.
yeah. I mean, that's one of the cool things about college
Yeah.
is like you can spend 4 years learning the rules, right? Like, but then you get to and like that was my experience with Dish, was like I spent this time in college like learning the rules. Like you always go upline in
Yep.
this situation, like you always go backdoor in this situation. And then I got on Dish, and
Yeah,
Wendy
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Where are you going? Like you were open. Why did you move?"
That's funny.
Stop.
That's wait, what was my next question? Oh, it was about who are your regional competitors in the what region is that? The Southwest? Are you guys in the South?
South Cent. I don't know what region we're called. It's Texas, Colorado, and I think
Okay.
technically New Mexico and Oklahoma. But so in the mixed space, there were three bids
Shame,
last
yeah.
year.
Disco,
Shame,
yeah.
which is technically
Okay.
yeah, Shame, Disco Club, and Trash were the three bidding teams last year. Um, so those are the three kind of like established players right now, where Disco Club and Trash are both pretty new, and Shame's been around for quite some time. Um, and they have a big year because they have double worlds this summer, because both Shame and their Masters team
Oh,
Regret
okay.
qualified for worlds.
Oh boy.
So
Okay.
they have
Well,
like a
we'll
pretty
see how
crazy
that.
summer.
Yeah, I'm curious about the mixed division this year because, like you said, it is kind of different. I mean, the hybrids won the last, 3 years in a row, but
I mean, Hybrid
yeah,
winning two
they've
in a
been
row is a
playing
big
different people
deal.
every time
That
in the
hasn't
finals.
happened,
So
and
yeah. Um, Let me see. Oh,
yeah,
and then I also saw because Kels told me that you got recognized as like second runner up coach of the year. You and your other co-coach whose name I am forgetting. Sorry to them. Lucas, how is it feeling? Like, how
Lucas.
did it feel getting recognized for that?
Yeah.
Was that pretty cool?
Um, it was cool. It's always like
Yeah.
it's nice to be recognized, but I care
Yeah.
like I don't care about that stuff. I care about the team achieving what it wants to achieve, and la- like getting that recognition did not make like
True.
everyone being really
That's a
sad
good
to get
point.
last at nationals
Yeah,
feel better.
that's a good point.
So I don't know. I mean, like it's nice to be recognized, but at the same time, it was kind of in some ways a tough year because we also Alpenglow also
Oh,
technically
okay.
won coaching staff of the year for WUL last year, and so it was like we won coaching staff of the
Yeah.
year, and then we got last at Champs Weekend. And so like that didn't feel good. I like it was just kind of a weird year of like cool to be recognized,
Yeah.
but like don't really feel like I deserve to be recognized in this
Yeah.
moment because
Okay. That
like
makes
the team
that
didn't
makes a
reach
lot
the
of
goal.
sense. That's a good point. Um okay, I had some coaching questions. I also, now that I've graduated, I coach Loyola. I coach some youth too, but and then I'm going to be captaining
Cool.
this year, and basically what I wanted to ask, what, yeah, I've got a lot going on.
Oh,
What
awesome.
are some of your what are some of your favorite
Sounds
drills
like
that you
it.
think are like most helpful to teams?
Ooh. Um so something that I think is really different about coaching
Yeah.
at different levels is what drills look like. Right, so like in college, like coaching college, right, like you might do
Yeah.
a lot of just like go to drill, right, so like to just drill the actual action of throwing and catching the disc, right, like you might spend an hour of your practice time on drills
Yeah.
that are like truly skill based, right, versus like for club or pro, like we spend 0 minutes of practice
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
on skill based drills, because because it is not.
Yeah.
First of all, we have super limited practice time, right? Like it's not like college where you're practicing three
Yeah.
times. Hopefully, I don't know, like 3 times a week for like the whole school year, right? Like it's like for Alpenglow, I think we
Oh
have a
wow.
total of
That's
we have less than
crazy.
10 practices.
Yeah.
Granted, they're like 4 hours of very like focused time, but like it's
Yeah.
what you have to focus on is so different, right? So I'm a big fan of like I'll give you an example. One of my favorite drills to do for pro is what we call, I'm actually not going to say the name of it, but or is a drill
Okay.
that specifically works on those end of quarter situations. So uh, the way that this drill works is you put a line like 7 to 10 yards off of each sideline, and you say, all right, like in order to score
Oh,
vertically,
that's
you have to score
okay. So you work on
horizontally
swinging
first.
it.
So you're playing 7 on 7, right? But like you're changing like how you are thinking about the orientation of the field to attack a different space. So like something that we spend a lot of time talking about and thinking about is like when you're holding the disc on the sideline, like other than maybe for the first second of the stall count where you're looking downfield, right? Like you should turn your whole body, you should turn your hips to
Yeah.
face directly off the sideline, right? Because why would you play diagonally this way when you could play
Yeah.
horizontally this way
Okay.
and just
I
attack
like
that
that.
space?
I'm like writing it
Um,
down.
and so that's a drill that I really like, where you make where like technically all 7 players are in play, but in a lot of ways
Yeah.
you're kind of playing
Oh
three on
yeah.
three
Yeah.
going one direction. And then once you score in that direction, now you can turn
That's so interesting. Okay, I like
and go
that.
play
That's a good
vertically.
one. Um. Okay.
Yeah. So I like that one a lot. And then I think a drill that I really like for college players is, or like that we do at the pro level that I think is still really good for college players is just so depending on whether you run a horizontal or a vertical, right, you might orient this a little differently, but it's stop disc
Okay.
3v3 off the sideline. So specifically, so the disc is always going to come in on the sideline. You're just playing 3-on-3, and the rep ends if you get a continue after swinging the disc
Okay.
off the sideline, or you get a power
Still,
position.
what size field
And
is
so
that? Or just still the?
it's
Yeah.
so full width. We call it, like, yeah, you'd play full width with like maybe like 15 yards down of downfield space, but like you want all three of those
Yeah.
players thinking of themselves as the handlers in the handler space. So like you can either put like the person with the disc, the primary reset, and then the front of the stack, or you can put the person with the disc,
Okay.
the primary
Yeah.
reset, and the third handler in a horizontal, right? And it just depends on which offense you're working through. And it's I like it a lot because it drills both offense and defense, right? So it's a
Yep.
situational, like, can you get the disc off the sideline? And defensively,
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
can you take away
Yeah.
the priorities, right? So it opens up also like good opportunities for like teaching switches, but
Some we
I don't know
try
if you're doing that with
maybe
your college kids or not.
sometimes.
You try, yeah.
That's okay. I like that one. Yeah, practicing and getting it off the sideline is always a good college thing to work on. And club, it's
Yeah.
hard. Yeah,
And that one you can do with six people, right? Like,
not as
I
good
don't know
this
what
year.
your college
So
numbers look like at practice, but we did we
yeah,
played
that is
we
a
played a lot of 3v3
yeah.
when I
We
was
lost a
there,
lot of people
when I was in
last year,
college.
so we definitely have fewer numbers this year. So that's a good drill to have. Awesome. Well, if
Yeah.
there's anything else you'd want to talk about before I get to the fun questions, let me know. I don't know if you have anything. I don't know.
I don't know. Did I? I feel like you asked a lot of questions, which is great. Yeah, no, this is my first time doing a
All good, all
podcast,
good. I didn't
so
know.
I don't
I
think I
don't know.
have anything to add.
Everyone should watch Colorado's games on YouTube. I love that they're well. Are they gonna not be free soon, or is that PUL? I thought I saw something about that.
uh,
Oh,
PUL has some not free games. So up to this
okay.
point,
I
and
do
as
like
far
that
as I
about
know, the
the
WUL games are
professional
all
games. That's
free
great. Okay, well, we'll
on
do the
YouTube.
fun
Hmm.
questions. First one
Yep.
is what is your frisbee hot
Okay.
take?
My frisbee hot take, I almost said it earlier, but is that 10 seconds is too
That's so
long and
interesting.
7 seconds is the correct amount of time for a stall count. Like, once you coach the 7-second stall, watching 10-second ultimate is
That's funny.
so slow and
That makes sense
so
though.
boring.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't had anything like that yet.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think that'll definitely be a good contested, like, well, that's what I got to ask because the contested foul. I think people definitely have opinions on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that would be a good one because I think it's a fun take, but it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
those things that people like already are fighting about. Like, I'm not saying I'm not getting into
Yeah.
the
No, I
spirit of the
think that
game
is a
conversation
good
or
one.
anything
Okay.
like
Well,
that.
last question. What is your dream frisbee line? And then you can go as creative as you want with this. I've gotten some crazy answers, but I've also gotten some like just 6 frisbee players I'd love to play with. And don't worry about ratio. It's very open ended.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of
Okay.
created two. I thought of two answers for this. So there's like my straight up just like women's 6 players that I think would be like so
Yeah.
cool to see play all together. So I went with um, Valeria Cardenas, Robin Fenning, Leanne Hoffman, Kayla Helton,
Oh, I love Jolie
Dina
Chris.
Alamelic,
That's a good
and Jolie
line.
Krebs. And then I also just thought it would be funny or like interesting to think through, like, for my alma mater, like what would be the best line of players that came out
Okay.
of Northwestern. So I did a mixed line for this. And so I have for Northwestern, I have for women's, I did 4 women and
That yeah.
3 and,
That's what
and
we
3 men
prefer
because
here. No, it's
I
okay.
know more of the women. But yeah, I did Leanne Hoffman, obviously, again, Ness Fajardo, Brooke Stanislawski, Candace C. Um, and then for the guys, I have Kyle Rutledge, Ben Spielman, and I guess I did four of each, actually.
Okay,
AJ Nilsing
I've
and
heard of
Ying
Kyle
Hao.
Rutledge. I didn't know he went to North. I thought he went to UNC, or am I thinking of
He
someone
did.
entirely different? Jeez, yes.
You're
That
thinking of
happens to
Rutledge
me
Smith, I
all the time.
think.
Yes, Kyle Rutledge. Okay, yes. Because now Rutledge Smith is also playing
Yeah.
in Chicago, so I think that was yeah, he's on Machine now, so I think that's also
Oh,
what
is
was
he? I didn't know
confusing me.
that.
Well, I like that
Okay.
alumni line. That's a good one. Okay, well,
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so
I thought
much
that'd be
again
fun.
for being on my podcast. It was really amazing to hear about all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks
Okay.
for having me.
I'll